Ruthie, who killed Samuel?
Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror. So today we are joined by the always amazing What a Ghoul Wants, Anna, sweet Anna. Anna, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. How are you guys?
We're awesome too. Yeah.
Very, very happy to be here with you. It's been way too long since we've seen each other.
I know.
It has been a while, hasn't it?
So if you are new to Sledgehammer Horror and you don't know Anna yet, she is a frequent flyer on the channel. She's one of our favorites, and you can follow her on social media as well as subscribe to her YouTube, What a Ghoul Wants, down in the description below. So for the people that don't know you, Anna, can you tell us a little bit about what you do over at your channel?
Yeah, so I do a lot of thrifting videos where I go looking for horror VHS tapes and DVDs, stuff like that, collection updates on my horror movie collection, and I do some movie reviews here and there, some lists of different horror topics. It's kind of all over the place.
Well, it's good because you keep everything fresh all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
thank you.
So like I said, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel, and please make sure you're following Anna. All those links are down in the description right now.
So Anna, do you want to tell everybody what movie we are defending today?
Yes, so we are defending Wrong Turn from 2020, 2021. It's a little murky. I think it was a pandemic movie. So I want to say it was released on Amazon Prime in 2021.
Yeah, it's the official date on it. They had it at 2021, but you're right. They started filming at the end of 2019 in Hocking Hills, Ohio. Very close.
Yeah,
you know, so
I didn't know it was filmed in Ohio. That's cool.
It was.
Yeah, it's very, very cool to see that they did that. So as always, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Rotten Tomatoes. And we know that Rotten Tomatoes is not kind to horror fans. People keep telling us that. They're not kind to horror movies. But the thing is, it's universal to everybody. Everybody knows Rotten Tomatoes. That's why we use these scores. And this movie does not have very low scores. The tomato meter on it is 65%.
Yeah.
And the audience score is 58%.
I think this is the highest one we've done thus far, actually.
I believe it is too.
Yeah.
Wow,
and
really?
What I love about that is the fact that Ashley and I really liked this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the, ooh, look at that, I dropped something, it's a name. But two of our friends are in this movie. Damien Maffei and Cheney Morrow, you know, they're two friends of ours.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. You know, like Cheney, he grew up in Toledo, which is a half hour south of us. You know, and to see him take on the role in this film, I thought it was really, really cool. And it was nuts being able to watch these two in action. So
but I mean, we like the movie, you know, also not just because they're in it, but I mean that ups the ante a little bit, but we still enjoy this movie.
Definitely made us go into it with a little more of an open mind.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some of the major criticisms that you've heard about this movie?
So a lot of the stuff I hear, and I'll just preface this by saying that I am not like a fan of the Wrong Turn franchise by any means. I've only seen the first one, so I really can't speak to the franchise, but the few things I do know about it is that, you know, kids get lost and they encounter usually some sort of inbred cannibals, and then mayhem ensues. So that seems to be the big gripe that people had with it, was that it lacked the inbred cannibals. Although I will say there are some cannibals in this movie, so people are wrong when they say that. But besides that, I think people think that it was kind of all over the place, not really focused, and that it borrows from a lot of other horror movies. And I can kind of get some of those criticisms, but I can go ahead. Actually, I saved some Letterboxd reviews, which it has a not 2.5. I think it was 2.6 out of 5 stars in Letterboxd, so just about 50%. Yeah. So one of the 1-star reviews said, "I watch Wrong Turn movies for backwoods mutant cannibals, not for some cult of Renaissance nerds gone rogue," which is kind of a spoiler. But I figured we'd probably be getting into spoilers in this a little bit. it's hard to talk about it without getting into spoilers, but another 1-star review was, "Where are my beloved inbred cannibal hillbillies? They should have just made this movie its own thing instead of throwing the Wrong Turn name onto it, because it hasn't earned the right to be grouped in with the original Wrong Turn movies. Yes, even the bad ones." And then finally, a 2-star review that says, "A Wrong Turn film made by people who have never seen a Wrong Turn film." So I think that sums it up pretty well.
The funniest part about that is the guy that wrote and directed this
was the same one.
Is the guy that wrote and directed the first one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But I think that's why like we enjoy it so much, is because it's not that Wrong Turn-esque like the other movies are. It definitely took a different way.
This is a movie that does, okay, please let me preface this first. It's never okay. Sexual assault in any way is never okay. But this is a movie that does it right. It doesn't show you what's happening. It lets your imagination know what's going on. But I don't have to see someone crying and getting beaten on and all that stuff. So that is one thing that I can say about this film. In comparison to the other ones, I don't have brothers and sisters doing it, or people with traumatic brain injuries getting sexually assaulted.
I feel like they definitely go for the wow factor, or they just like way outdo themselves on most of them, and it's not for me.
Right. And you know, some of the things that we've heard too is annoying characters. Yeah. Which I don't get, because I think the kids in this movie are great.
And well, they're annoying, and then they put themselves in the situation. But I mean, don't they all, a horror movie. Like, don't they all put themselves in the situation? If they didn't put themselves in that situation, then there wouldn't be a movie, right?
Right.
Now,
yeah.
One of the criticisms that I do have, that I've seen a lot of when we were doing our read throughs, the movie's too long, and I'll give you that. This movie was very long.
There's too many endings. Like the endings, the third act, like 3 different endings. It's like, when is this gonna end? Like, the
third act was ridiculous. And now here's my favorite of all the criticisms that we read. You want to?
It was overused plot with a wokey changes.
With wokey changes.
Yeah, is what I read. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, these are some of the major criticisms that we've heard about the movie. And, we'll talk about, where it ranks in the franchise for us and some of the other things later. But, why did you choose this movie to defend? Why is this the one that you were like, you know what, I really dig this movie. This is what I want to come on and talk about.
So I think that number one, it was pretty underseen just because of when it came out and only coming onto streaming. But even compared to other movies where that was like a similar thing that happened, it still has a pretty low viewership, I think. So I think that people maybe were turned off by the name, and then also just the poster. You can see it's like one of the Foundation people in like a skull in the woods. It looks really folk horror-y, so I think that confused some people too, and they're like, what are they trying to do with this movie? Because they really do kind of put all this stuff in it. But I think if you can get past those things, those are pretty surface level. It does, like you said, it has really good characters. I think the pacing is pretty good. I agree, it probably could have been trimmed down some, but it's a fun time. I really had a good time rewatching it, and it rewards rewatches because you can look at what's happening, kind of know and foresee all the little foreshadowings and stuff like that. So I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And a big thing about what we were talking about a little bit ago is how a lot of people were criticizing this movie was called Wrong Turn.
Yeah.
In other countries, it's called Wrong Turn, The Foundation. And while it was being filmed, it was just called The Foundation.
Okay.
Maybe people would like it more if it wasn't
just called The Foundation.
Yeah, if it was just called The Foundation and it wasn't put into the franchise with Wrong Turn. But like a lot of movies that they remake or reboot, and they put on the Child's Play.
I love the fact that the guy that did the first one rebooted his own franchise.
Yeah.
He took what he liked about, because there are little nods to the first one in this one. Yeah. I don't think this is really a sequel, obviously. This is a hard remake, a hard reboot. Yeah. And he wanted to do almost the same story, but he wanted to make it a little better, in his mind, a little better and a little more contemporary. And I think he did a very good job in doing that. So that's something that, I wanted to bring up, that if you look at the title, even in other countries, this film is called Wrong Turn: The Foundation.
Yeah. Are there any favorite moments that you can think of?
Yeah, so I really enjoy the part. It's like as the kids are hiking, and so we start off with them, you know, they're going on the Appalachian Trail, and it's very classic Wrong Turn in that way. They're in the woods, they're, you know, hiking, and of course they get lost. And we're just like, okay, you know, this is a little bit scary because they don't know where they're going. And then a huge log just comes out of nowhere, barreling over the hill. And it just really kicks into like action, everything that's going to happen afterwards. But you're at this point, if you're watching for the first time, you're like, what the hell was that? Like, what's going on? And then the editing as the log is rolling and the kids are trying to get out of the way, it's like so quick, but there's also some slow-mo. It's really frantic, and you really feel like you're kind of in the moment with them. And the sound design there is really good too. And then of course, at the end of that scene, we get just smashed right into
brutal.
Yeah, it's very intense.
Yeah, absolutely. And even his face, like when you see what happened, it's like, oh my God, it looks good. Like they did it all practical, and it looks really good.
It looks really good. And at first you're like, oh, they cut away like when it hits him. But then you get the cut back to him, and they'll do that a couple times later on too, with some of the other traumas that happen. So
well, and a big thing about, well, we were watching, you know, some of the special features on this, and during that moment, a lot of them were doing their own stunts throughout this.
Well, they were, and I mean, they said that they had to fall down that hill so many times.
15, 16, 17 times.
They were getting, you know, all banged up from falling down that hill and hitting rocks and tripping themselves. And
for as long as this movie is, they filmed the entire thing in less than 30 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know? So like
that's quick.
They were like, you know, pedal to the metal, let's go, let's keep going. You know, so they're doing this, you know, 15, 16 times. And they're like, after that, you're trying to walk around and you're just falling on accident because you've just been falling all damn day. So,
well, even like the aftermath and like how they all are just like so sad because, you know, he got hit by that log. Like it's very and like an emotional.
It feels real.
Yeah, it does.
It's not like, you know, like, and I'm not trying to, you know, I love the Friday the 13th movies. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But it's not like, oh, they're dead. Come on, let's go.
Like
next man up.
They actually cared that their friend died. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then just giving these little moments for the characters, which I feel like other movies might not take the time to do, but you see, so there's the girl who's a doctor, and I call him Discount Adam Brody because he looks a lot like Adam Brody, but he's
just like Adam Brody.
Her boyfriend. And in that moment where they see the log coming, he runs and doesn't even try to see if she's okay or if she can like run with him.
You left me. You left me.
I know.
And for the rest of the film,
I was like, that would be you.
That's you. Like, bullshit. That's so not me. It's just funny you brought that up because she was like, oh, that would be you.
You would leave me there.
Oh my God. I feel like Ken would jump in front of you, Ashley.
I 100% would jump.
I like to give him.
Always.
I like to give him crap.
I'm never the good person in the movie. Every time something bad happens, hey, look, babe, it's you.
Oh,
thanks,
no.
babe, I love you too.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
it's
so
ironic that you bring up that one scene. It's funny how our brains work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so like for the rest of the film, there's this tension between them because he left her, and then ultimately what ends up happening is she gets killed and he has to leave her like to die. And that makes it that much sadder. I think that they kind of instilled that in earlier scenes, and just, you know, getting to know the kids earlier when they're together in the bar and stuff, and really getting to know their personalities. But yeah, I have a feeling that some of the other Wrong Turn movies don't take the time to build the characters like that.
No.
Another thing that is so heartbreaking in that moment when he's looking down at her in the pit.
Don't leave me! Look at me! Fucking look at me! No! Fuck you!
Like, that's so hard. And he's just like,
bye. Yeah. Like, saving myself. Sorry.
That whole part to me was just like, oh, you know, 'cause she's begging, you know, look at me. Do not leave. And he's just like, well, you're breaking up. You're going through a tunnel. I'll talk to you later. You know, like that's a sad part.
It is.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about some of your favorite moments, and in the log scene, you do have one of the coolest kills in the movie.
Yeah.
But would you say that that's your favorite kill, or is there another kill that really does stand out to you?
I would say that at one point, Jen, who is our lead, our main character, so I guess for context, she's the one who basically convinces the Foundation people that she should be kept and like not killed, and she can be a productive member of their society, right? So in this, I think it's 6 weeks. I want to say that was the timeline from when they went on the hike to when her dad finds her eventually. So she's had several weeks of living there and learning these sort of survival skills and things like that, which her character development is really interesting too, because she kind of comes into her own in that way. Like she becomes really good at it. And one of those things is wielding a knife. And at one point, there is one of the Foundation members who's really creepy. And it's when she's trying to escape and he catches her and he's like being really weird and gross. And she just takes this knife and like, boom, 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 but like over and over and over again. She just keeps going. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, like get him.
You know what's funny about that?
Huh?
That creepy guy is our friend Cheney.
Oh, no way. Oh my gosh. Well, he was very good at being creepy.
He did his job.
Yeah, he totally did his job.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I was texting him when we were watching the movie, and Damien, our other friend, there's a moment where, Damien's the guy that he's walking towards her and he gets shot. She just shoots him and kills him. Okay. He was the one of the brothers that was, trying to kidnap him, and they were in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And he gets shot and killed. And then Cheney, he gets this, 19 stabs or whatever it is. And I'm texting him, and I'm like, yo, at least you didn't go out like a bitch like Damien did. He's like, well, yeah, I do got that going for me. So that's awesome that you bring that up, because you're right. He's so creepy in that moment.
And
you're
he
like,
deserved that completely. You're like, get it, girl.
With the history of this franchise, you're like, no, please don't do what I think you're going to do.
Right.
Like that's the last thing we need. And so, yeah, it's cool for, I thought he did great. He was creepy. You genuinely were like, please kill this guy.
Yeah, like
he's my buddy, and I'm like, kill him, get rid of him.
I think, I couldn't pick out a bad actor in the bunch. Really, I thought everybody did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, when you see Matthew Modine, driving around, you're like, he's looking for 11.
I know, that was so weird, like rooting for him, because in Stranger Things, you're like, God, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
We just recently found out. I didn't know this. His daughter is the one that's trying to kill Jessica Roth in Happy Death Day.
Yeah. And she like
the one that sleeps with the doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
That wanted the doctor.
And she composed the she was the singer.
Yes, at the end of the movie.
That song that like kind of plays at the end. She made that song.
That rendition of This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land. Right. That's her singing that song at the very end during the credits.
Mm-hmm.
No way. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's her doing that. It's Matthew Modine's daughter. And we were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We know her from somewhere. And then you look and it's like, she's Happy Death Day. She's the one who's trying to feed a tree the cupcake.
That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Little known things you can get. That's why you got to keep doing physical media, ladies and gentlemen.
I love finding out stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so interesting.
How it connects everything together.
Mm-hmm. So are there any like favorite quotes or one-liners that you can think of that stuck with you?
Yeah, I actually have one two. And the first one, I wrote it down. I have to find it because okay. It's when they're in the courtroom and essentially Discount Adam Brody, he killed one of the Foundation members wrongly. Like he thought he had just reason to do so, but he didn't. And so basically it's an eye for an eye, and they're like, all right, well, we got to kill you now. And the head Foundation dude, he's going on this spiel because Jen says, you guys are barbaric. This is barbaric. And he goes on this spiel about how great their society is. There's no cancer. There's no poverty.
Our food is fresh and plentiful. We have no cancer, no poverty.
And then he says, you tell me whose world is more barbaric. And then he takes a log and just starts smashing the guy's head. I was like, wow. So I just thought that was a very interesting juxtaposition. And then towards the end, when Jen is free and she goes back home and she's talking to her stepmom or no, it might be her dad, but they're talking about having a movie night. And she's like,
oh, and remember it's pizza movie night, so don't be late. Boys pick something with inbred cannibals.
and I was like, okay, I like that little nod to the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was really, really good. Because at that moment, everybody watching's like doing the Leonardo DiCaprio. We all know exactly what's going on at that moment. So, we talked about some of the things that you really like about the film. Some of your favorite moments, your favorite quotes, your favorite kills. But obviously, there's no such thing as a perfect movie. What would you say some of your criticisms personally of the film would be?
I would say agreeing with some of the stuff I mentioned earlier about how it does seem a little bit unfocused in parts. It's kind of trying to say a lot about a lot of different things because you have the kids and then the locals in the town, and they're kind of at war with each other. And then the locals are also kind of at war with the Foundation people. And they're sort of trying to do a commentary on like socialism versus communism and all this sort of stuff, but it's not super duper clear. But I can honestly forgive it for that. Like, it doesn't bug me too much. I don't really get hung up on that very much because I'm still being entertained by what I'm watching. So those would probably be the things that I would have to criticize about it. But honestly, the parts that pertain to the inbred cannibals, like, no criticism there.
Right.
But going back, I thought I'd mention the cannibalism though, because there is a scene where essentially a punishment for crimes in this land of the Foundation is being sentenced to, I guess, until you die, being blinded, deaf, and then mute, and then thrown into this, what they call the darkness. And so at one point, one of the characters, I think it's Jen, kills one of the Foundation members, and there's people from the darkness there, and they just are like, okay, that's food. And then they turn and they start eating him. So I was like, that's where I did the Leo thing. And I was like, there's the cannibalism.
There's the cannibalism you all wanted.
When you get to them sentencing people to darkness and you see them take the fire poker.
Oh my God.
Like, that is so, like, kill me at that point.
I mean, you can't hear, you can't see, and you can't talk, and then you're gonna throw me into this dark place where I don't know what, anything like
with
that.
a bunch of other people.
I would rather be dead. That would be so horrible.
Or you're just fumbling around in the darkness and maybe you feel something move, but you don't know what it is. Like, and you don't know when it's gonna end.
They obviously don't give you medicine after they burn your eyes out.
Or food, clearly.
Right. So I do gotta say one little side note, because another thing that made me, just because of how much I fucking love the movie. The guy at the bar, which is also the guy at the end that's helping them fight off the Foundation, is the harbinger of death from Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Seeing him, I was like, Mordecai! Morty!
It's Mordecai!
Well, in this one, he actually ends up being helpful.
Right. But he is also kind of a harbinger in this one. You yuppies, get out of here.
Yeah, and he tries to beat up her dad so that he won't go after her in an attempt to kind of save him in a way. He's also an interesting character.
They humanized the hell out of him at the end when you find out that his nephew was killed by one of the Foundation. And finally, he's just had enough. He's like, you know what? We're going to help you. We're going to get you guys out of here. We're going to get revenge. And you, like you said, a big thing about this movie is assumption. Looking at stereotypes of people, like the rednecks at the town. I hate saying rednecks. That sounds so fucked up. But like, those people think that, the locals think that our people, our main characters is what I mean by that. The people that we're following are just these hippie, woke hipsters that don't know a thing about a fucking thing. And then, our crew thinks that the locals are just a bunch of redneck hillbillies. Right. And then
have no education,
right?
Like
and then they think the Foundation are barbaric and cannibalistic and disgusting. I mean, they kind of are. But it's all about.
And the Foundation also looks down upon them. He went on that spiel.
We have fresh food.
Yeah, we have fresh.
We have
food.
no
we
cancer.
Don't have cancer. Like you guys are. We're gonna look down upon how you live.
Right.
In society.
So that's what I love about you said. There are so many like social justice issues, like current event issues going on in the film. but they could have been addressed a little better. But we already had an almost 2-hour movie, so you know, I do like
probably there wasn't really room for more of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know you said that you've only seen the first one and this one. So would you say that this is your favorite in the franchise, or did you like the first one more?
Yeah, I would definitely have to say that I liked this one better than the first Wrong Turn. I only saw that one time and I thought it was fine, you know.
Yeah.
But nothing really stood out. I think there's a lot more to grab onto with this one.
I agree. I mean, like, there's certain things I like number 2 has Henry Rollins. I was a huge Black Flag fan growing up. So seeing, you know, the front man of one of my favorite bands. Number 6 has Sadie Katz, you know, who we've been able to interview and talk to. She's one of the sweetest ladies in the world. She just had a baby. Congratulations, Sadie. Hope everything's going good with that as well. You know, so there are definitely redeeming moments throughout the franchise to me, whether it's friends or storylines. You know, the one in the snow is pretty cool. You got some of the cool kills in the snow. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
The Foundation is easily my favorite in the franchise. I love the characters the most. I love the story the most. I love how we don't get a bunch of sexual assault pushed into our face where we got to see a bunch of nasty shit like that. It still has it, which is a huge bummer, but at least we don't see it, you know. There's a couple times it's hinted at, like you were talking about a minute ago when Damien is taking the girl. She's obviously like a little sex slave.
The girl in
right
the
before she shoots him. You know, then she eats him. She's like, fuck you, you know.
Hasn't ate in a while.
Right. So, you know, there are definitely, and obviously, sexual assault, it totally happens to our main character. Yes, she agrees to it, but it's out of her control.
Yeah.
The circumstances are not conducive for consent.
Right. You know, do this or I'll poke your eyes out with a fire poker and throw you in darkness forever with your boyfriend. You know, like that's still grape without the G. So that's, you know, it is a bummer to see that type of stuff. And, you know, even when she has to give herself to him, so he doesn't go and kill her dad right away. You know, like those are moments where you're like, shit, like, you know, come on, man. Like, that's a human being that's going through this. So,
and it's something that leads to the ending, which is, like we said, it's very convoluted. There's a lot going on. And on top of all of the stuff that's happening, we find out that she's pregnant by him. And so you're like, oh my God. Like, and this is all in the last 10 minutes. You find this out too.
If there's something I hate, and people know I hate this, it's fake outs.
It's like 3 different fake outs in the ending of this.
It got me because I mean, I'd seen this before, and the first time that he comes to the house and she attacks him, I was like, oh yeah, this is how it ends. And then boom, no, that's not. I was like, oh, that's right. It's just a fake out.
Like he kills her whole family and you think her whole family's dead, and then really her whole family isn't dead.
I just hate when the stepmom's like, what are you doing?
I know.
She's laying there dead. I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like Scream 4, the openings in Scream 4, when you have like 2 different fake outs at the opening. The stab open, that pissed me off so bad. I was in such a bad mood for the rest of the movie. Like,
I don't
at least that makes more sense, I guess, like in the context of that movie. This one is just like, I guess she just like dissociated for a second after seeing him, and then this is what was happening in her mind. Like, there's not really an explanation for it, so you're just kind of like, okay, I guess, sure, it's like a dream.
Honestly, I think it would have been the ending would have been just fine with her and her dad getting away, you know, and it faded to black. Like, that ending was fine for me.
I just hate the fact that we do not get concrete, conclusive evidence that she killed the guy that sexually assaulted her and impregnated her.
True. That's
we never see him die.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you could make the assumption it is because, you know, the RV crashes
and she killed everybody else that was outside of the RV.
That definitely leaves it up to, if they ever wanted to continue this timeline of Wrong Turn, they definitely could, with him not being dead.
Absolutely.
We all know the rules. If you didn't see it, it didn't happen. So
sometimes they can wreck on that.
Yeah. I'm looking at you.
Don't say it.
I liked the credit scene where it's just the one shot of her and little Ruthie, who I have to say looks like one of your kids. I was like, is that a third Sledge daughter?
The little blonde hair girl.
And they're just walking towards the camera in this one shot. And going back to, sorry, I totally forgot about this part in one of my favorite moments, but speaking of Ruthie, she's such a badass. She doesn't talk the whole time. She's just like running around the woods. And there's the moment where Discount Adam Brody is trying to get away in the courtroom, and he grabs her as like a last ditch, like, okay, I'll kill her if you don't let me go or whatever. And Ruthie just has this hidden knife, and she just goes, shink, and then stabs him in the thigh. I was like, yeah, Ruthie.
Yes.
You go. Yeah, that part totally forgot about watching this, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I just had to bring her up.
Yeah, she's a cutie.
Yeah, when little kids are badasses, it's always amazing.
Oh yeah,
you love when the kids are badasses.
Yeah,
that's something that's always cool with you. So when we do a My First Horror Movie episode, we rank a movie out of 5 skulls. Well, we have 2 hosts now, so we're going to double that, and we're going to rank it out of 10. But unlike My First Horror Movie, where we rank it on how it affected you, we are going to rank this movie on acting, production, score. We are being critics here, Anna. So 0 to 10 skulls, 0 being the worst, 10 being the best. What ranking would you give Wrong Turn, The Foundation?
I'm kind of torn because I gave it 3.5 on Letterboxd. So that would be 7 then out of 10. But I'm between a 6.5 and a 7, just because of those issues we talked about. With storytelling and everything like that. But I mean, I think, yeah, the production was great. The acting was great. Effects are good. So I'm going to go a little high. I'll say 7.
Okay.
What about you?
I think 7 sounds good, actually. I really enjoyed it. I was entertained. Like I said, I did hate how long the movie, like, you know, the ending, and it could have been stopped where her and her dad just got away. We didn't need all that extra, I don't feel like. So yeah, a 7 sounds good.
I'm gonna go 5.5. Like I said, the fake outs bummed me out.
Yeah.
I do think the movie went on a little bit too long, but there are a lot of positives, and I've always been a super critical person anyway, so 5.5 is still not bad. It's my favorite in the Wrong Turn franchise. I like you guys said, I don't mind watching this movie. If this movie's on, I won't be like, oh fuck, change it.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like, I really, really like the movie, and the kills are good. Like you guys said, there's a lot of practical. A lot of the shots they did were great. Knowing what a lot of this cast went through, you know, with doing a lot of their own stunts and things like that, and the short amount of time they had to film, what they created with all that around it really, really does push it up for me. So I'm going to go 5.5 out of 10.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So you have, say, 30 seconds to defend this movie to somebody that's never seen it. What are you going to say to them to make them want to watch it?
I would say if you like movies where you've got a gang of spunky kids who get into a little bit of trouble, and you like a couple twists and turns in your horror movies, you like things like booby traps and stuff like that, do not get scared off by the name or any connotation it may have as a Wrong Turn film. Just go into it with open eyes, and just enjoy a really solid horror movie.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me. So let us know in the comments, guys, what did you think of Wrong Turn 2021? And if you weren't a big fan, have we persuaded you maybe to go back and rewatch it with a little more of an open mind? So we would love to know your thoughts on the film. Anna, please don't go anywhere. We got a couple more questions for you. And if you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel more than you know, as well as follow Anna and subscribe to her on social media as well. Our links and her links are all down in the description, so you can subscribe and follow her. And if you're not following us on social media, we would love to have you along for that ride as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.